came before I saw the shadow. Abeni's voice cut through the night. The wind tore through the village, bending palm trees. Mud houses groaned. Though there was no storm, I ran to her hut and froze. The floor was wet, but it hadn't rain. Shadow twisted on the walls. Something was watching. That night, I learnt that love touched by darkness brings danger no one is ready for. I hid behind a tree, heart pounding. Abeni, usually brave, troubled. I could feel something unseen in the air. Watching us, I realized what was happening was not normal. Something old and dangerous had awoken. By the river, Abeni and Femi whispered to each other under the mango tree. Children played nearby. Femi sometimes looked restless, his eyes dark. Their love was innocent but fragile. Something unseen was already watching. Femi started going to the forest at night. One evening, I followed him. He was with men in red cloth around a burning pot. He whispered strange words. Smoke moved like it had a life of its own. Something dark had entered their lives. The next morning, Femi gave Abeni a red bead bracelet. Wear this, he said. She hesitated. Shadows in the room stretched. Lantern flickered. That night, whisper called her name from empty corners. The whisper grew louder each night. Invisible hands brushed her hair. I stayed close, but I could not protect her. The air felt alive with something cruel and old. Baba Irete examined the bracelet. This is not ordinary charm, he said. It links your soul to the giver. Break it, and the spirit may take both of you. Spark rose from his small fire, twisting in the air. Abeni and I shivered. A faceless shadow appeared at Abeni's gate. Smoke moved where legs should be. She screamed as if her soul was being pulled out. I felt my own heart pounding. The shadow had started its hunt. Femi confessed he had promised Abeni to the shadow of wealth. It said it would give riches if I gave something precious. The shadow loomed behind him. The beads tightened on his wrist. Lantern fell. The forest watched silently. Femi ran into the forest and smashed the ritual pot. Spark flew. Shadow twisted violently. The wind screamed. It disappeared into darkness. Abeni collapsed. I heard her, knowing some terror woman cannot fight. Abeni woke to heavy silence. The beads lay cracked on the floor, but a faint red glow lingered. Her hands shook as she picked them up. The wind whispered through the village, carrying strange sounds. Even the chickens seemed afraid. I watched her, noticing how she glanced at every corner, expecting the shadow to return. The story appeared quickly. Elders whispered about curses. Villagers locked doors and prayed. The tree seemed to lean closer to the village. Abeni held her beat tightly, haunted by what had been unleashed. Every night, shadows on the walls stretched like snakes. The whisper called her name loudly. She woke shaking, crunching the beads. I stayed close, but even my presence did not help. Something cruel and unseen moved around her. Femi disappeared. The forest offered only fading footsteps. Abeni whispers his name into the night, but the wind stole it. Even the river seemed to mock her, flowing silently. The shadow had calmed him. At the river, the shadow appeared taller than any man, smoke twisting like living darkness. Abeni froze. Her beats blew faintly. She whispered apologies, though I didn't know for what. The river still. The air was heavy. The shadow's hunger was not finished. Baba Irete returned, looking serious. She must face it alone in the forest shrine, he said. Abeni's body shook, but her eyes was determined. I begged to go, but Baba Irete shook his head. This is not a fight for the living. Only courage can protect her. At dusk, she stepped into the forest, beads glowing faintly. The shrine, hidden in the forest, was wrapped in red cloths, surrounded by carved stones. Whispers echoed from the ground. Abeni stepped inside. The air ticked with unseen intent. Shadow coiled like snakes, brushing against her hands. The beads pulsed faintly as if sensing the ancient hunger. The shadow circled silently. Smoke brushed Abeni's hair, its demand proof of love of Femi's loyalty. She shook, but refused. The shadow grew taller, pressing the air from her lungs. The forest leaned closer, testing her courage. The whisper multiplied. The love is mine, the love is mine, Abeni screamed, crunching the beads. Even I could hear the voice from the forest edge. The wind joined the chorus of dread. She stood trembling but defiant, facing darkness with courage. Suddenly, Femi appeared pale, wet, eyes wide. Run! He shouted hoarsely. The shadow stretched towards him, pulling him into darkness. Abeni froze, torn between love and survival. The forest went silent, leaving only his fading voice behind. Abeni stepped deeper into the shrine. Smoke coiled around the carved stones. The bead glowed brighter, warning her. The shadow circled, faceless and patient. Whisper older than the forest echo. Every heartbeat felt like a drum of dawn. I stayed hidden, powerless. The shadow reached towards her. Voice whispered, "Give what you love or join the lost." The beats paused violently, burning her wrist silently. She hesitated, feeling the weight of a terrible choice. Courage trembled, but she refused to betray Femi. Through the haze, Femi apparition appeared. His pale eyes pleaded, "Trust yourself, not the darkness." Love cut through fear, but the shadow shrieked. Smoke twisted around her like snakes. The fearless shadow lunged. Smoke wrapped around Abeni like chains. Her scream was muffled by the roaring wind. Spark from the shrine fire danced violently, casting every shadow. She felt like strength failing, but held the bead like a lifeline. Femi's apparition threw himself into the smoke, distracting the shadow. His body seemed to dissolve into darkness. Abeni's eyes widened with terror and grief. His voice whispered, "Run! Survive! Love remains!" She held the bead tightly and broke free. Abeni ran blindly through the forest. Mist clung to her. Branches stretched her hands, but she did not stop. The shadows whispered followed, twisting around trees. The bead glowed brighter, guiding her, a fragile beacon in the forest. She reached the river where she and Femi once laughed. Water reflects her face and the glowing bead. She plunged in, wading through cold, dark water. The shadow followed, but flattered at the water's edge. For the first time, it required from living courage. Exhausted and wet, Abeni stumbled into a clearing. Moonlight fell on her strangled form. The shadow lingered at the tree line but did not follow. She sank to her knees, gasping, the beads glowing faintly, a sign of survival. Baba Ireti appeared silently through the mist. "He tested you," he said. "Love alone does not tame shadows, courage does. Remember this, darkness waits for the heart to filter." Abeni held the beads tightly, understanding their powers and the cost of deviance. Abeni sat at the river alone. Moonlight silvered the water. The beads glowed softly, reminding her of the night she faced darkness. She promised to honor Femi, guide her courage, and respect the power that Lord unseen. The shadow had not forgotten, but neither had she. The forest whispered, patient and eternal. Abeni walked back to the village at dawn. Mist hung in the air. Villagers stared silently, sensing the weight she carried. Baba Irete met her at the gate. You survived, he said, but shadows do not forget. The beads glow faintly on her waist, a warning and a memory. Abeni sat by the river where she and Femi once laughed. Water reflected by her haunted face and the faint glow of the beads. She whispered his name, feeling sorrow and gratitude. Though he was calmed by darkness, his courage had saved her life. Love could endure even in the shadows. At night, whispers returned, soft and patient. Remember, they seemed to say. Abeni clung the bead tighter. She knew the shadows had not gone, only waited. Every heartbeat reminded her, love and courage are never free. They come at a cost. Baba Irete gathered Abeni and the villagers. This is the story of love touched by darkness. It teaches courage, sacrifice, and vigilance. Shadow may wait, but hearts that chooses wisely can survive. Abeni listened, beat pulsing faintly, knowing her story could mourn generations. Abeni sat by the river alone. Moonlight slivered the water. The beats glowed softly, a reminder of the night she faced darkness. She promised silently to remember Femi, guide her courage, and respect the unseen power. The shadow had not forgotten, but either had she. The forest whispered, patient and eternal, as she embraced the lesson of love, sacrifice, and survival.